Hi, my name is Al, and I'm at our extended family lodge, and I am the property manager slash handyman that takes care of the property for the extended family. Just to give you a little background, we turned this property into a limited liability corporation so that we could put the property in its name and give extended family shares into the property for use, and it's basically for upkeep. We all pay dues based on the number of shares we have, and right now I believe we've got 35 family members who are helping keep this property up. We've had this property, my mom and dad bought this property back in the 1950s. My first time out here was with my dad when I was 5 years old, and he was cutting trees on the property. It's a old, unclaimed strip pit. It goes back probably about a half a mile, branches off into 2 fingers back. It's only about 100 yards wide at the widest, but it's also about 50 feet deep right out here against the high wall that's there. So it's a place we've been enjoying for years, and I've been taking care of for the most part. I took care of it quite a bit in the 70s, and then we've got another property for my wife's family that I helped build down on Patoka Lake in southern Indiana. This one's in southwestern Indiana, and since about the mid-1990s I've been sort of the caretaker of the property. We just built this lot, what we call the lodge. It's a enclosed kitchen with a large fenced-in area in the front, basically a shelter house with a closed-in kitchen. And we hold our yearly family reunions that we've been holding since the 1970s. We'll have anywhere from 35 to 65 people here for a week. As I go through this channel, I'll explain some of the projects I've had over the years. Right now, my wife and I take care of the mowing. Next door, we've got a neighbor taking down about 6 trees that have been threatening his 2 properties. So you'll hear the saws and the beeping of the equipment here once in a while. But I have a couple projects for the day. I need to take some stumps out in the back. I need to work on our security cameras. I noticed the geese are back on the lake, so you'll see the temporary construction fencing I've got on the side here. That keeps the geese from coming over from our neighbor's property. I need to straighten that up, and then I need to put the fencing back out here on the front. The geese seem to think this is their rest and recreation area, and then they do a heck of a job on the lawn once they get up here and start eating. The water's about, I don't know, 5 inches high right now. You can see the limestone rock I've put out there, starting a lake wall to try to protect the bank. You can see how high our floating pier is. You can see how far back the water is going on our permanent deck. Originally, only the first 2 supports were in the water. Now we've got 3 in the water. It's slowly getting eaten away. There's an overflow pipe down in the corner of the property that we'll be doing something about soon, I think. It used to just have a cut through the high wall, and the high water would run out. Some of the neighbors got concerned because the beavers were stopping it up, so they put in a metal pipe about 25, 35 years ago. Now it's starting to fail, and the water's been up now for about 3 months. Now, we did have quite a bit of rain here last weekend, but even before that the water was high, and we hadn't had any significant rain for quite a while. We've got about 3 ditches. I'll call this one a creek because it's been filled now for about 4 months. We've got 3 ditches that run out of the woods and farm fields back behind us and keep this place filled. So we need to get the overflow fixed. There's the 2 mowers my wife and I used to mow the property. Yard barn my nephew built a few years ago. It works pretty good. This mower I bought last year. It's a cheap old mower. So one of the projects I had today, I'd cut out some 1/4-inch metal savar, 3/8 inch, let's put that 3/16 inch metal supports. Put a hole in them so that they would, as I take these up and down these ditches to mow, I was starting to bend the cheap handles. So I put those supports in there on top of the handles and then some washers to fill in the distance, and then I got a nice solid support for the handles, and hopefully they'll last a little longer. At the rate I was going, they weren't going to last very long. We've got the power's off right now. I don't know if you can see, but they've had to drop the electrical line in order to get the big trees down that they're taking down on the property. That's the back of our property. That's our outhouse. We've got a big drive for during the summer. Around July 4th, we'll have this parking lot filled, and we'll have tents and campers everywhere. We put in electrical outlets for the campers back here. We've got a couple of hunters' cabins that my sisters use when they're here to stay in. We've got bathrooms I built about 14 years ago when I moved the pump off of our front porch at the old cabin and moved it out here to get a little privacy, so I built bathrooms along with it. Basically, we just have a holding tank with a little overflow, so we pump it every year. I've never had any problem with it, and we've had no problem with leaching or anything else. Project my wife had last year, she turned our hole for a fire pit into a nice looking fire pit. She also helped me take an old frame for a park bench, and we put fresh wood on it, and then we got a nice park bench with treated lumber to sit around the fire. And on a day like today, it's easy to take breaks, but I'll explain more as we go on, as I do more videos, because once the summer comes, the spring, the grass really gets to growing, we'll be down here about once a week to mow, once every 2 weeks at the most, because this grass will get high on us if we don't keep track of it. Then it really gets difficult. So my wife does this front part, and I do the back. I've got some stumps to take out in the back to keep from hitting with my mower. Plus I'm wanting to do some planting this spring. But right now I need to grab the construction fencing that goes on the front and put that in. So I'll get started on that. I've got the first piece rolled out here. This is just a short piece that covers this area next to the deck and pier where we launch our flatboat. And so I try to keep it open. So we just have a short piece can be taken down when people are here. We'll leave this up most of the spring and summer. We'll take it down on the family reunion. Whenever there's people here, we'll take it down because they can chase the geese off. But when we're not here, this did a really good job last year keeping the geese off. And what I'll do is I'll set you up and I'm filming with my camera, which I need to get or with my phone, and I just need to get a decent camera, but I'll set you up here and hopefully you can watch part of what I'm doing. This is watch what I'm doing, and this is just one of the chores I wanted to get. I didn't even plan on doing this one today. I just wanted to come down and check on the property. But as soon as I got here, I noticed the geese were back. So I figured before they get on here and start eating the grass and leaving their droppings everywhere for my wife to step on, we try to get this fence up and see if we can't make them a little nervous about coming up here. So I'll just leave you sit there while I do some of this work. Oh, we fell. Sorry about that. Notice there's already goose dew on part of the front yard, so hopefully this does the trick. You may have noticed it was difficult to drive some of those poles. About 7 years ago when we built the new lodge, we had a gentleman come in here and build us a pad up about a foot to try to prevent any more flooding. We had about 12 inches in here one year, and we flooded to the bottom of our old cabin, so we built that up about 14 inches. And then the concrete's up about 4, so hopefully we won't have any more flooding. But if that pipe fails down there, it's a possibility. But we had them build up the front lawn here about 4 inches. And part of that was we got loads of waste brick and brought in here and then buried them underneath the front lawn. So when I drive something out there, a lot of times I'm hitting the brick. This is just a little short. I need another wooden pole, so I'll go find one of those, and then I'll have enough to completely cover this gap we have in here. Well, I found another pole, so I'll set you back up again and hopefully get some video of trying to get this fence up. see, I got the fencing up from the pier all the way across our front property. The neighbor's pier, which happens to be my sister and her family. So you can see the property line here. Taking the property lines. When we had the lodge built a few years ago, I had a survey done to make sure we knew where the property lines were, and then you can see the cap, and all I did was dig around them, put some PVC and some concrete to make a monument. It may not be exactly perfect, but they are real close. They're where the surveyor put it. So I did that. I had him put posts or put tags about every 50 yards or every 20 yards, and I've done the same thing, made monuments out of every one of them. It's such a beautiful day today. One of the small chores I thought I would take care of is I've got a couple of stumps back here on the back side of our property that make it difficult to mow. So I've got an axe back here and I'm trying to take it down to ground level. I've gotten one out. This is the biggest. And then I have another one just over here that I need to try to lower down. They were cut only a couple inches above the ground, but that's still too high for some of the mowing equipment that we've got. So just sitting here on a log resting after doing two of them, and I thought I would knock this one out. It's going to take a few minutes. It's trouble with getting old. It just takes longer to do things than it used to, and when you do hurt yourself, it just takes longer to recuperate. So the old handyman, his property manager, is going to take his time since it's such a nice day and I'm not in a hurry to go anywhere. You can see this big one. I've got most of it removed, but my axe handle is starting to come out and break a little. So I have to be careful about putting any side torque on it if I want to try to get through this, but I pretty much have it down to ground level. I figure about 15, 20 more minutes and I should have this down without straining too much. It's just really a nice day out here, so I'll take it to my time, enjoy the day, and work on my projects. Well, before I broke my axe completely, I remembered we have an old antique maul in the shed, so I've gone and gotten that out, and the handle's good enough. I've been able to drive down on it and then use it to break some of the wood out. Hopefully I'll be able to get the whole thing out. Well, you can see I've got it down. Kind of hard to show you with one hand, but I broke out the big edges on the side and then just all down the surface. And I've actually got it below ground level now. Got some dirt piled over here to the side. And I'll just pull that back on, and that will keep me running into it with a lawnmower. Now I'll just go over and start working on this other one. I've already hit it with the axe a few times. That's all. Should make a short job of it. Now all I have to do is get my breath back and maybe sit down and enjoy the sunshine again for a little bit. Then get back to it and take another break shortly afterwards. Hell, getting old, people. On the easy parts, I'm able to drive the adze all the way down in there, and then I can just use it to leverage the pieces out like this. So I'm back here in the woods and work on the rest of it. I should have these three major ones out of here, and then I just have a little bit of cleanup for this area, this side of the utility pole there. And I'll have this area done, cleaned up. I'm hoping to plant some wildflowers out here. It's somewhat in the shade a lot of the part of the year, but I'm bound determined I'm going to get some color back in here instead of just weeds. So that'll happen later in the spring, but we'll see what happens and see if I can get some color back here on our back part of our property. Well, I got my chores done at the family lodge, drove home. It's 2 days later. I was able to edit the video. I'm now sitting in my favorite spot, which is my back porch, back retirement porch, wearing my retirement footwear, and then just enjoying the spring day. It's a little cooler, a little cloudier, but still overall very nice. If this is something you enjoyed, you can hit the thumbs up and give me a like on it. If you'd like to get notification when the next video comes out, you can hit that subscribe button. If you got any comments or suggestions for me, put them down below, and I may answer, I may not. I am retired after all. Thanks.